Good evening, everyone. It always makes me laugh. I don't really ever know what to say actually when I start off. But anyway, welcome to this evening's stream. I'm currently rendering a video at the moment, and my computer may go a bit jerky at times. I don't know. What are we on? We're on about 40% rendering. I rendered a video earlier today and it took about 2.5 hours. So, but anyway, I'm not going to be doing any massive rendering using Blender. So it should be fine. It should be fine. My computer's powerful enough, hopefully. Anyway, I thought today what I would do is just show a couple of things that in between sort of my last stream and this stream, I haven't really touched anything to do with the Victorian house because people seem to be liking that as an ongoing project. So I'm not going to do anything in between on that. But what I thought I would do is just show a couple of things that I've been working on, because there's a Twitch streamer that I follow called Sindri Tuner, and I've joined her Discord, and I'm trying to learn how to be a bit more arty. Is all I can describe it as, because I am not very good, although I use a tablet for doing quite a lot of 3D stuff, but I'm not very good at art, as in, designing stuff. So I follow her on Twitch, and I quite like, she's got, like I've said before many times, I like following people that have got a character and they talk to their chat and they acknowledge their chat and all of those other things. So I'm trying to learn. So what she's doing recently is, which I thought was a really, really good idea, to try, she's obviously got a Discord server, and what she's trying to do is to encourage other people to get into doing art. And I thought, that's actually really quite neat. So it was about 3 weeks ago she started, and the first theme was yellow, I think. Whatever, just you pick something and you've got to kind of come up with something to do around yellow. Last week was... What was last week? God, it's not that long ago, but I've been busy. Oh, last week was actually what I'm showing you here now at the moment. It was about deep. I think it was about water and about deep, something along those lines. It was just that, and so you had to kind of interpret that. So, and then this week has been a circle was the theme, circle. So I've kind of already caught up. So this was what I wanted to show actually, was this what I've done here. So I'm kind of really into doing atmospherics in Blender at the moment, and I'm really liking doing things like lighting effects. So anyway, I had this idea. I built this 6 years ago, this kind of Greek temple, and this was done in a version 2 something of Blender, and it was hard work, I can remember, but this was about my 3rd attempt at doing this Greek temple. Anyway, I did the Greek temple, brought it into Second Life, and it looks amazing and all the rest of it, but the land impact's a bit high because obviously, this is really molded modelled. It's quite a large high impact. But anyway, I just thought, because I actually brought it originally, I made the very first Greek temple literally out of Prim in Second Life, and it actually didn't look too bad. I mean, it was actually quite good. And what I did was I made a couple of versions of it in Second Life, and one of them which I really, really loved. And now we're talking a long time ago. We're probably talking at least 10 years ago, or maybe even 12 years ago. I made the first Greek temple, and I did it. I built it as sort of a set of ruins that were supposed to be underneath the water, and it got quite a lot of attention at the time. People thought it was quite neat, and of course, since then, that you can go to some amazing sims that have been designed underwater, with weeds and fish and sharks and whales, and I mean, it's just it's a different planet, really. So anyway, I at some point, like about 6 to 8 years ago, I started thinking, well, why don't I do it in Blender? It'd be really. It was in the first sort of early stages of doing. In fact, I keep talking about when Second Life allowed, and I don't know when it was. Remember when it was that we were allowed to start bringing mesh in to Second Life. Okay, so it was about 2012, yeah. So it was about 8 years ago. It wasn't 10 years ago. It was 8 years ago. So I may have built something, I think, but then I made this particular version back in 2016, and I brought it into Second Life and hadn't really used it. Again, it got a little bit of attention and all the rest of it, and then we had this Sindri. I think her name is Cindy, but she calls herself Sindri Tuna. And I thought that would be really neat. I'm going to make my own underwater kind of atmospheric, kind of Atlantis sort of feel vibe about it. And so I was actually practicing some techniques, and at the moment I'm into atmospherics, and I just love how the atmospherics works and all the rest of it. So this build here it involves kind of a landscape. And that was something else that I learned, that it was actually really easy to create this kind of landscape. And then this is a sea. And that again, this is animated, by the way. It was only about a 10-second animation I did. But the sea moves and it's got waves, and it's just amazing. It's really, really amazing. And then this was another technique for creating kind of abstract dynamic rocks and such like. And so I started to I brought all that in, and I brought my Greek temple in and literally broke it up and made it look like some ruins. Added some lights for some effects. So we've got a light off here at the background, which is the sun, and then here we've got an area light, and there I think is another area light. Yep. So a couple of lights just light it all up, and then the whole thing is surrounded by this box, which is the atmospherics, and I kind of kept the theme of the color scheme much the same. So obviously you're looking at this in modeling mode. So if we go to rendered view, this is the kind of effect which I just really, really love. And to be honest with you, I did all of this from start to finish, and it probably took me 3 to 4 hours. If I was to do it again, I reckon I could probably get it down to about an hour and a half, now that I know how to do it. I'm not gonna run the render because I created an MPEG file of this, but I love the effect. You know, you've got the sun above here, which is kind of reflecting off of the sea, and that moves. You know, it moves. If you go onto my Discord, you can see the final video. But then, you know, the atmospherics gives it that kind of undersea look, and then I've got bubbles. There's bubbles rising up through here. Obviously you can't see the bubbles, but on the video, if you go and watch the video, you can see the bubbles rising, you know, because there's always something going on there. And I love this effect. I love this effect of the sort of rocks here and the building, and you know, you can sort of see the seascape in the distance, and the atmospherics comes to an end at some point. You know, it's actually quite amazing what you can do. And I actually submitted my my final kind of 10-second render from this angle, and then because I was working from this angle all the time, and then I thought, oh, I wonder what it looks like when you move around. So I kind of moved around, and it just looks absolutely amazing. It's just fascinating what you can do in Blender. It really is just absolutely amazing. And then I kind of took it from this angle, and this was kind of my view. I don't know whether, can I render just that one frame? I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this. No, you won't. Okay, because it's come up in a different window, which is a bit of a shame. Ooh, I don't want to crash my computer while it's rendering a video. No, it's a shame you can't see it. Can I show this? No, I can't show that. Okay, no worries. But anyway, you know, the what you're seeing here is obviously all the lights and such like. But you can kind of get an idea of the atmospherics going on. You know, you can kind of, you can't really see too far in the distance, and you can, you know, see the sort of rubble or whatever it is here in the foreground. You know, and your mind kind of pieces together what's actually going on. And of course the lights add to the atmosphere and to the shadowing, and you kind of have to get them all pointing in the right direction, otherwise it looks false. And then of course you can see the building, you know, here, and you know, because this is quite a large area, you know, you could actually render from quite a distance away. It's quite amazing. Really is quite amazing. I mean, you could. I'm seriously into atmospherics. I like it. I like the atmospherics, and I love this kind of effect on the sky. And you know, and it really does look like a building is completely, you know, sunk under the ocean and kind of partly covered in sand. Anyway, just wanted to share that I do actually work on other things. Now the other thing I did was a very abstract, for my circle submission, I submitted this. And this is a very abstract kind of thing. And I was playing with atmospherics and with some other what they call modifiers that you can apply to different pieces of mesh. And I put one on this floor, which was quite interesting. And you know, we've got other lights, and I put this thing up here in front of a light, which we call a gobo. So it's just literally an object like we do in real life. I mean, I was a professional photographer for 35 plus years, and so we used to use things like gobos. They're called gobos because you put them in front of a light, and it creates an effect, and the light comes through it, and depending on how close it is to the light, you get certain different types of effects, and how big the holes are in things and all that kind of thing. So I'm kind of applying the skills that I know in real life as a photographer into Blender, which is just, again, a bit kind of mind-blowing and quite amazing, really. So I was actually doing this, I sort of created this setup. I was playing actually around with just, you know, modeling this kind of thing and just making the complete hash of it, and then until I added some atmospherics. And again, a bit like the underwater scene with the Greek temple, you know, the ruins, it just started really transforming into something else. So while I was learning and watching how to make this kind of thing, and playing around with lights and atmospherics, I kind of stumbled across quite a lot of other things at the same time. And if I go to rendered view, and here we are. We ended up with this rather abstract scene, which is, you know, quite amazing, really. I mean, I took the final render and photograph from, I think, around this angle here. Again, it's on my Discord if you want to go and see it. It really is abstract. I mean, I wasn't designing anything specifically, and I wasn't purposefully going to submit this as my, you know, onto sort of the Sindri Tuners website. It just kind of evolved and happened, you know, as art does. And this is what my kind of belief about art is, you know. But yeah, so I kind of produced this strange looking abstract art with a sort of a tube stuck in the side, using all sorts of techniques really in Blender. And this here that you're seeing is the effect of the gobo. So the light source, which is here, is going through the gobo, and you're directing the light down here, which you can obviously angle and move around and change the power level and the brightness and the color, and I mean, there's just so much that you can do. And I just literally took a shape, I think it was a sphere, flattened it, removed half of it, you know, cut some faces out of it, and then it produced this kind of really strange, you know, pattern on the side. And of course I've punched holes in the side of this object here, and then put this kind of cylinder in, hollow cylinder into the side of this mesh, and punched a hole in that. You know, all of a sudden you're coming up with, and I added the atmospherics, which is the, you know, the kind of the bluey, purple, pinky haze around it, which gives it that look. And so I'm kind of into this at the moment. It's good to just literally play around. This is how you learn. And again, from this render, I learned some more techniques. I learned some more techniques about, you know, lighting. Like this is a light back here that's providing some rim lighting around the object here, so that you get this kind of effect, and you get this kind of hazy look, and you know, it's lighting up the floor. And there are a lot of artists who use Blender. I mean, there's just one artist, I can't remember his name now, And I mean, if you're into that kind of real abstract, and I mean, he doesn't just use Blender, he uses other programs as well to produce his artwork, but it's mind-blowing. I mean, it's well beyond the scope of what I, you know, what I can do. What is, here we go. He's called Midge Sinevive. Midge Sinevive. Go and look at his artwork. It seriously is just unreal what he can do. And he takes a program like Blender or any other kind of 3D graphics type of program, and he just really pushes the limits on, you know, creating art with it. It really is quite amazing. It really is quite amazing. So yeah. So, you know, Blender isn't just kind of a 3D, you know, design graphics thing for making, you know, assets for games and stuff like that. I mean, it really is a tool. It's a tool for creating, you know, for creating what it, like I'm obviously going through this project with the Victorian building, which is where I feel that's where I feel comfortable, you know, making things like that. I'm kind of a, you know, that's my thing, but I'm kind of pushing my comfort zone into areas that I just haven't really played with before. And I must admit, I know you've been able to do this kind of thing in Blender for a long time, but as the Blender versions become more and more intuitive and a lot easier to use, creating this kind of thing, which I you know, reluctantly, I guess it is art. I don't think I'm an arty type of person. I'm a very kind of almost practical person, really. It's weird. It's not specific for anything, and I'm sure anyone looking at this would probably think, what on earth, you know. But hey, you know, I look at other people's art sometimes and I think it's subjective, isn't it? Art, it's subjective. You know, somebody else would look at this and think, wow, you know, that's absolutely amazing. I don't think they will, personally, but you know, some people will look at something like this and go, wow, you know, it's really deep and meaningful and blah 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 blah, and you know, that's not where I was coming from at all. And then some people will just, you know, the majority of people be sort of flicking over it and going, have no idea what that is, can't be bothered to interpret it, and you know, move on. So anyway, I'm waffling. Is there anyone here in chat yet? Anyone here? No. Okay. It doesn't matter then if I waffle. I'm allowed to waffle when no one else is watching. I'm going to keep an eye on my microphone. I've stopped using the little shotgun microphone that I had before because I don't know why, but it kept dropping off. I really don't know why, but anyway, I've gone back to using my lavalier mic, which is obviously on the chest here. I think I've got a lot more control of the you know, the volume and such like, and I'm hoping, because it fits my kind of audio deck thing here a lot better, hopefully it won't keep dropping off. But anyway, let's go back to the Victorian house. Anyway, I just wanted to just show, you know, some things that I kind of work on in between. You know, if I've got a few hours free, an afternoon free after sort of real world stuff is all done and taken care of, that you know, that I work on. You know, I've got a few hours free and I just think, well, what can I learn? What I try to do every day is I try to go into Blender and learn something new. You know, I will trawl YouTube or wherever, or I will look at some other 3D, and there are some really good 3D streamers on Twitch. There really is. And I will just look at them, watch them for a few hours, and see how they do things, and you just learn. And I've learned so much. I like to learn something new every single day. I think it's important. You never stop learning just because you leave school, and so many, or college or university or any formal education. I just believe that really, you know, life is a long. I know it sounds corny, but you know, life is one big learning, and I think it's important as humans to continue to keep learning. Keeps the old brain cells going. Plus, it keeps your interest. You know, I don't watch TV. Sometimes I listen to a radio, shortwave radio. But I just love learning. I want to learn something new every day. I want to learn something. So, if I get the project list up, and we can just review basically what we were working on. This doesn't want to work today. There we go. Right. So the last time I basically split all the rooms up, and I cut the faces so that I could apply specific materials to certain rooms, so that now one of the things that I know I need to do is I need to apply a UV material that will show me whether everything is unpacked correctly, and whether it's you know, clean. Because if the house is going to be used by people in World and Second Life, and they want to put their own wallpaper or you know, whatever, they want to decorate the walls themselves, which is where I'm kind of coming from really. I will put materials on there. Most of the time I don't think people will really be bothered, but you know, somebody might want a fancy wallpaper on there or something. Then I need to make sure that the UV mapping is correct, because you know, when somebody puts their own texture on the walls, you want them to obviously come out in the correct way. And I've got some ideas about the coving for each room, so I am going to do the coving. I'm going to make it very low poly though. It's not going to be particularly complicated. And I've already kind of done some tests actually about the rear texture from all the windows, so that when people are indoors looking out, they're going to basically be looking out through what they think is a window, but it's just a texture. And I've been thinking about gas lighting. I might put some fixtures in there. I might even think about putting a chandelier in there. It all depends where it goes, really. It all depends. Right, so I think what am I going to work on? Excuse me. One thing I do need to do, I know, and I noticed this the last time I was streaming, I noticed that every single window, and I think this is because I use these windows on another build, so these are just assets that I've brought into here. I need to fill those in because we don't really want to see holes, basically. So I think what I might do is all the windows which are in a group on their own. No, they're not, are they? They're not anymore. Okay, so I need to go through and do all the windows. I'm going to do the front ones first. This needs to be done, really. So let's just take that lot. Now luckily that's all one edge, and I could just fill that in, so this is not going to take too long. So then I will make the face on the back one material, and that will cut down the land impact, basically, because it's the outside that really kind of matters. That's the bit that really needs to be to look the part, really. Computer's going slow. It's rendering, so I did say that it would be a little bit jerky. But okay, right, let's do the same on the back. Wow, being able to do that without even moving my view here, which is pretty neat. Wow, that was quick. Right. Let's go through. Okay, so I now actually need to go through and make sure that each of these, what is the... okay. That's fine, because it's actually selected the windowsill. So I dare say that the inside window pane I dare say the inside window pane. Oh, okay. So I will need to select that and give that a different texture. So that's, yeah, okay. Okay. This is what I was saying on an earlier stream, that sometimes, while you're working on something, and I think this is always, I actually quite like it when, even experienced Blender users or any artist, I think it's actually encouraging for other people to see when an experienced artist or an artist makes a mistake and has to go back and rework something. It's everyone makes mistakes. It doesn't really matter how experienced you like to think you are. Everyone makes mistakes. So although I filled this in, what I haven't done, of course, because I removed it when I made this asset in the beginning, is separating this kind of back window pane from. So I filled this in, and basically that's what they call an n-gon. And I really need to join that so that I've got two different. See how now there is an edge to it, if you like. And we test that out by just moving it around, and there you can see that's got. It's still an n-gon, which gets sorted out anyway before it goes into Second Life. But we need to basically join them so that we get a cut on the corner, and then I can make this back face see how now you've got a normal that comes out underneath. There isn't a normal on the back of this. In fact, it's probably the other side, but we've got to cut that across that edge, otherwise we get some very strange geometry. And now we've got the rear plane here and one underneath. The one underneath needs to be part of the windowsill, and this needs to have its own texture, material and texture. So but yeah, I view mistakes as something that you have to go in and correct, and you just have to go in and correct it. And I think it's actually, I like to see where people make mistakes, because I've watched some very experienced, not all people who do courses online and tutorials, etc., not all of them will show their mistakes, and personally I think that's a bad thing, because everyone makes mistakes, and you learn from mistakes. That's the key thing, and of course that's a key thing in life, is that everyone learns from mistakes. So done that one. And unless I've made, you know, an absolute cock up somewhere along the line, which, you know, has happened, because there, as I've mentioned before, there have been times where you kind of have to think to yourself, do I go and spend all the time correcting it because there's too much to lose if I don't, or do you scrap the whole thing or part of the thing that you're doing and start again? And that's kind of a judgment call that you have to make. With anything really, you know. So we're back here. All the windows are kind of done. Let's bring back everything else. So I'm happy with that now. What? I've done it again while I was actually in that mode. Are you kidding me? Okay, they're still all selected. Yeah, they're all still there. That's fine. That one isn't, so I need to just do that one again. I went back too far. Okay, so what I need to do now is, and I should have really thought of this before, let's just see. This is part of the wooden frame. So yeah, this doesn't need to be part of the wooden frame. All of these, which I can do all in one go. So I select all of them, and if I'm really clever, I can go around the other side and do the same. So we select all of these, select all of these, that's it. And I need to assign all those to the windowsill. So I just click on the sign and hey presto, it's done. If I click off of there now and I select windowsill, it should give me the front part as well as the bit that I've just highlighted. Now I need to create a new material slot for the rear of the window, which I'm going to be putting. So I need to select that. Oh no, not that one. That one and that one. Okay, so we've selected the rear of all of those. Okay, let's create a new material, and we're going to call this rear of window. Yep. And I'm going to assign that material slot to the rear of them, so we can just test that out by selecting. Oh, that's interesting. Why is it only selecting one? Oh. Go through every single one? Wow, I have to go through every single one. Okay, I know what I can do. Right. We're going to do it this way, are we? Right, so we need to select all of those. I thought I could create them all that way. And we select one that we've assigned, that particular one before. We can go Control L, material. Oh, we can't do it that way. Interesting, can't do it that way. Okay. Just have to do it one by one then. Wow, and you have to assign it. Okay, I'm learning something else today. Okay, anybody in chat? No one in chat. Therapy. It's therapeutic. So let's make sure that we haven't screwed up anything else. So we've got the rear of the window on every single one, that's good. I want to do the ones on the bottom now. I created a new one. Let's assign that. So if I call that rear of window, let's just call that SML for small. Okay. There's only 4 of these. Microphone still working? Yes. Music? Yes. 200 people sending me messages in chat. No. Anyway, right, so we're good on that. We're good on that. Anything else I need to do on there? No, because I've assigned everything else. That's fine. Okay, the inside of the rooms we've done. We've assigned texture slots, material slots to everything on the window. Let's assign a material. I think this will be the same. Yeah, let's assign that to be the same as the window sill, which is kind of made of concrete. This bit here. So this will be kind of much the same. The door, we're going to assign material new. I'm going to call this front door. I need to add another material here, which will be the glass, and I'm going to make this I'm going to sort of make a texture for that. It's going to be, why am I doing this? It's going to be stained glass window. I think would be really nice. They weren't always stained glass, but I think posh houses that had money would have made it stained glass. So let's just assign the material for that, and it's going to call this stained glass. Deselect, select, and we're still, yeah. There we go. Okay, that's good. This bit, actually let's just isolate this out 1 minute so that I can work on this. So the inside of this will be the same as the wooden frame around the so I'm going to go something like this. Okay, and then let's just go up there. This is quite therapeutic, I think. You know, you go around and do this. This is quite key to get this right, because you want your textures to be mapped correctly onto... Ooh, that's interesting. That's got a double... might have to do a cleanup on that. Yes, that's got a double... Okay, let's clean that up. And so I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to make that the same texture as the wood frame. Assign. Okay, let's select all the mesh on there and tidy it up. Clean up. Amazing. No. That's interesting. It's not removing anything, and yet I know that there is, I can see that there is sort of a double. interesting. Is that all the way around? It doesn't go all the way around. Let me just delete this face. Ooh, yeah, there is, look. There is a double face. Oh dear. Interesting. Do we have the same problem here? Yes, we do. I must have screwed up somewhere along the line. These are, again, things that you learn. Okay, so there's kind of some and not others. How very strange. I don't know quite what was going on there. I see. I wonder actually if this was because I was using the version 2.93 of Blender. I wonder. Possible. Okay, this is being a bit of a pain, but not a problem. Again, I've learned over the years from making mistakes and coming across strange things like this that you learn to cope with correcting those mistakes and all those kind of little anomalies. And there's things like this. I don't know quite what's happened here with the geometry, but somewhere along the line something got screwed up, and I suspect it's because I was using the very early versions of Blender 2.93, which you know, is full of bugs, and was doing some rather interesting things on that underwater scene that I was doing. If you watch the video on my Discord of that that sort of short video, you'll notice that there was like spurious light things coming on around the video. Now I left those in because it actually looked quite, it kind of gave it quite a nice little effect. And I didn't put those in. That's using a piece of software that's buggy. It's full of bugs. I'm not getting any duplicate materials on there. Okay, so we've got windowsill, which is the same as the surround, the stained glass, which is sort of the half moon, half sun there, and then we've got the wooden frame that goes actually around the door. So if we select that, yeah, that's fine. Stained glass, which is just that pane of glass. The windowsill is everything else, so it's working fine. I'm happy with that. The door, we've got a material slot on downstairs, you know, the basement. Again, I think the walls on the outside. Ooh, that's interesting. save as, let's go to another M, and let's go to oh no, what am I doing? Everything I've just done has been a waste of time because I've been working on an old version. Oh, bugger. I should have realised, because the stairs haven't even been put in properly. Oh my god. Everything I've just done has been a complete waste of time because I'm working on the wrong version. There you go. Another learning. I should have looked at the version numbers correctly. I'm working on a more stable version of Blender now anyway, so, and of course I spent all that time the last time with the materials. That's the exterior wall. Wow, okay. Right, so while it's still fresh in my head, I'm gonna have to go back and do all the windows again. Oh my god. Okay. There's no one in chat anyway, so I don't know why there's no one watching, so I don't know why I'm really bothered. As I've been talking about, you learn by your mistakes, and then sometimes you don't. Anyway, I did actually find that there were some. See these. This. I'm going to stop using. I'm going to stop using 293 because it really does. Actually, do you know what? I think this is what this is telling me. I did wonder at the time when I did this a couple of days ago. I did kind of wonder why these colours were coming up. Now I understand what they're telling me. There is duplicate. There is duplicate mesh on here. So I wonder, does that mean that that's also duplicate mesh? It's interesting, isn't it? Maybe it's not telling me there's duplicate mesh there, although to me I think there is. Well, I don't think there is, actually. I don't think there is duplicate mesh there. I don't know why that's gone to a different colour. So if I pull that out of the way, you see the whole thing's moving. If I pull that's all moving, so it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know why those colors are appearing. Does this mean it's duplicate? No. I don't know. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, diagnosis is that the... Okay, I see what's happening. Ooh, this needs to be corrected because... I'm just glad I haven't got 200 people in chat telling me what I've done wrong. I've got no one in chat, so it doesn't really matter. It's interesting. I am not going to use 293 yet. I think it's too early to be working, and it does warn you, you know, that you shouldn't really be using it on production. You shouldn't be really using it on production modeling, so it's my own fault. I am gonna discontinue using that on my house because I've invested too much time and effort into this to let a beta version of software screw it up. As much as I like 293, and I think it's going to be an excellent piece of software when it's fit, like they all are. I think I will just continue to use it for my own personal bits and pieces. I wish I knew why that's red. I don't know why that is red. Anyway, that's corrected the door, so again, I think it's, in a way, although it was a mistake, it's helping to get the geometry correct, ready for texturing. Otherwise, when you start texturing and your geometry is wrong, it's so annoying. It really is, because you've kind of committed to getting everything done, and you start kind of really kind of worrying why things are not working. Okay, so we're going to create, we're going to put a material slot in here, and I'm going to call that windowsill because it's going to be similar. So you always have to work kind of backwards. I know, you know, this doorway is going to have about three textures, but every time you create the first material slot, it assumes that you're applying it to the whole thing. Even if you select certain areas on an object and then go and create the first material slot, it does it for everything. And that's something that you learn, you know, after many painstaking hours of assigning material slots and not checking. So if we deselect and select it, see the whole thing is selected. Now I can go in, select that. Now, because the whole thing has been assigned a material, I can now add a new material. I'm going to assign it to those two sides, and I'm going to rename that stained glass. Why have I got caps lock on? Okay. And now I'm going to go around here. No, I don't want to do that. So I can do that, because then I've selected the whole door frame. I now need to go around and select what will be the next material slot, which will be the wood. Frame inside the arch. So I think we've got everything there, which is going to be wood, and I'm going to use the same texture, so material slot. I'm going to select the window frame, the wood frame, and assign that. So we deselect, select, we're selecting the right amount of thing. If we go to the stained glass, we are selecting the stained glass, and if we now go to the window sill, which is going to be the same, we are selecting everything else. Now we have done that correctly. The door is going to have a new material, and I'm just going to call this front door. I can't believe I did that. Okay. I can probably do the same. I can pretty much do the same for this door here. I'm going to remove these faces because they're not required. I don't think actually the rear of this door, the faces on the back of there are required either, really. Anyway, so we're going to apply a new material to the whole thing. It's going to be the same windowsill. Okay. Select the windowsills, the whole thing, of course. And now I want to select this as the door frame, the wood. Correct. So new material slot. Wood frame, assign, correct. facing. Interesting, isn't it? So we need to select normals and recalculate outside. Okay, so that went from red to not red, but that one didn't. Why? Okay, that door frame done. Select this. New material. We're going to call this rear door. Save that. Got anyone in chat? Anyone viewing? Okay, the chimney, the chimney and fireplaces have been done already. The exterior wall, I haven't assigned materials yet to the inside, but we have. Of course, that took quite a long time, which was the. Putting the cut down there behind the partition walls, so that we've got each room will have its own material, like I was saying earlier. What I haven't done is that's going to be quite a big job actually, to go and assign materials to each of the rooms. But I will do that because I screwed up the windows and I was working on the wrong version. I now need to select it. I know what this shouldn't take very long at all now, because this is the second time I'm doing this. You always learn by your mistakes. Okay, right. So the executive decision that I made was to actually easier to fill this. Okay, so I'm going to fill that and then go in and cut, split that. So it's quite easy to do this. Just go around, fill. Ooh. Are you not playing ball? There's a guy, a chap I follow. I follow so many people to do with Blender. I mean, there was just some excellent people on. I've just learned so much over the years from watching other people working, mistakes and all. Like I was saying earlier, I think watching a really experienced Blender user, or what I'm calling a commercial Blender, or any artist for that matter. Any artist, I think if you can. If they're confident enough to actually show the mistakes they make, I think it goes a long way for people to actually, just have confidence that, it's okay to make mistakes, and even people who've been, paid money to do this kind of work. And some people get paid a lot of money. Ooh, let's go back on that one. What's happening there? There we go. you know, it's good to see that they also make mistakes. So, because I screwed up earlier, what's happening here then? Why won't these two work? Oh, there we go. Right, now you're playing ball. There, thank you. Right, yeah, so, you know, watching other artists do something for quite a long time and then make a mistake and you know, you watch them correct it, you then learn when you make a mistake that, you know, you also know how to correct it. And I think that's quite key. Getting red. I've not seen this before. Interesting. I don't know why we're getting that red thing. This is a new. For anyone watching, obviously, you know, you can tell by my description and such like that I have interest in other areas of life, always have done. I guess I could be called multi-talented. I have never really liked the term jack of all trades, master of none, because okay, there is some truth, I think, in that, but at the same time, when people look at my CV and they look at my experience, even in certain areas of my life where I have qualifications, and I will, like I said at the beginning of this video, I like to learn every day. I like to learn, and then when I feel like I've kind of reached a point where, you know, not that I can't learn anymore, but maybe I've just learned enough, you know, to get what it is I need to do, you know, because I mean, you could just keep going. It gets to a point where you need to change what you're learning, or you need to learn something else in order to expand your skill set. And so when someone looks at my CV, they run a mile very often because I've got a lot of qualifications. And I do mean a lot. I have got a whole file full of certificates, professional certificates of vast areas of my life. I've come across people that have done, you know, have done the same thing with their life. But if you show those, if you go somewhere to, you know, prospective job or whatever, I have been told, now I don't want to sound big-headed, okay, but this is what I get told a lot, and I know other people have suffered the same problem, because our society, unfortunately, will only acknowledge people who have done a fixed amount of something. You know, they've been through college or they've been through university and they come out with, you know, a a small set of skills or a small set of qualifications, and you will find that most prospective employers and HR departments, etc., will, they're happy with that because they can manage it, they can control it, they can, they can cope with that. When you've got a lot of qualifications in various different areas of life, professional, vocational, whatever it is, people don't like it. They really don't like it. And I've been told, like I've said, I don't want to sound big-headed, but I've been told so many times in my life that I'm overqualified. In fact, I was told that when I was in my late 20s, applying for jobs. And I used to go, what? I'm overqualified. I mean, it's kind of just such a ridiculous thing, really. But there you go. I've been told that many times in my life. I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist. A few years ago, and I mean I've taken that, I got my full qualifications for that. Well, in one area of psychology, I got that back in the late 90s, and then I kept developing and going on different courses and such like, and then I went on one course that I went on two courses that cost many thousands of pounds. One was £6,500, and then another course that I did, I think, was about half of that, but it was split over a period of time, and I didn't have the money at the time to pay for it all in one go, so the tutors, said it was okay, and they did that with a lot of students. They said it was okay to sort of pay it over a period of time, or while you were doing the course. They wanted X amount of money, and so I accomplished that in 2007, and became a master practitioner, and I went to a place here in Oxford. So I've got a lot of qualifications in just psychotherapy and hypnotherapy and all of those things related to psychology. And there was a group that I wanted to apply to join, just as as a therapist. And they had some videos on YouTube, and I quite liked their philosophy, and I liked the way they worked, and they were kind of mature like myself, and I thought, I could see myself fitting in there quite nicely. I was interested in hiring out their therapy rooms to practice and whatnot, and I got told I was overqualified and that I wouldn't actually fit into their thing, because some of the psychology that I have studied and got qualifications in apparently was just, out of their remit, and that stuck with me for quite a while, actually. I mean, I was kind of taken aback with that. I just kept thinking, really? I don't think I'm overqualified. In fact, I would have thought that would have been good for any company, really, to have somebody that was, that got so many qualifications. But so what I'm trying to say is that sometimes in life, we get told throughout our lives that you know, oh well, you know, you have to be educated, you have to have a degree, you have to have this, you have to have that, it's like, the reality is what they want you to do is to become brainwashed into being just one thing. They only want you to be good at one thing because they can't cope with people who are good at multiple things. They don't like it. They don't like it. Okay, so now I'm going to select all of these windows. Okay, so I've assigned obviously the materials to this one window here that I want, and now I can go Control L because I've selected, and I can apply the materials to all of those in one go. So now we should have the materials assigned, and now I can do the same for this one. So that's going to be window cell. This one is going to have new. If I call this rear window pane 02. Okay, and I'm going to assign that. That's fine. So now, because all this geometry is the same, I can select all those three. 1, 2, 3. And this one that I've assigned the materials to last, Control L, and assign the materials to all the others. Boom. And there we go. All the windows are done. Okay. The chimneys have got materials assigned to them. The roof has got materials assigned to them. The dormer windows here have got materials assigned to them. Front door, the frame, the exterior wall has been assigned to all of them, but I haven't done the interior because obviously the exterior wall is the mass, you know, the first material slot that you give it, and then after that I have actually divided up all the rooms into different, so I can assign different materials, and I will do that by per room. I need to call each room something, you know, looking from the front I might call it, yeah, this is a big room here, there's 2 small rooms there, 2 small rooms on the first floor, 1 large room at the top left hand, so I'll think about that. Let's get rid of the basement and get rid of the first floor and also the roof and also the chimneys. Let's just work on this. We've got 2 large fireplaces and 3 small fireplaces, and then we've got the kitchen fireplace kind of cooker area. Anybody in chat? Nope. Okay, let's do the inside. The interior doors. I put a handle on these, didn't I? Yes, I did. So we have the door frame. I'm going to... Okay, so this should be relatively easy to do. Okay, so we're just going to create a new slot, door frame. So I'm going to call it interior door frame. That's going to be relatively easy to do, and then I'm going to create a new slot for that. and I'm going to call it interior door. Okay. So we can select these frames, this last one, Control L, materials, these two doors, then this one last, Control L, materials. Now that all of these have got the same materials. If I bring back the first floor, I can select these door frames and the one downstairs as the last one. Ooh. No. That one, that one, that one. Select that as the last one. Control L, materials. Door frame, doors. Door. Select that one last, Control L, materials. There we go. All the interior doors and door frames are done. Windows are done. Fireplaces. If I do this small fireplace, so this will be 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to give that one. So small fireplace. Let's just call it frame. Then we've got new small fireplace. Brick. New one. Small fireplace. Great. So we're going to select these. Select that one. Let's see if I can get the one downstairs as well. Oh, come on. Really? Okay, let's just do it floor by floor then, if it's going to be Control L, materials. Oh dear, I'm getting tired. I know this is when I start making mistakes. Control L, materials. Control L, materials. I find it quite therapeutic. You know, there is shortcut ways of doing this sometimes, but you know, sometimes it's just as easy to do it the long way. It's a bit like doing mathematics. You know, there are easy ways of doing mathematics, and sometimes it's just easier to do it the long way. Right, now we've got the kitchen one. I'm thinking I'm going to be adventurous, actually, and I'm thinking, and this is another area that I know I'm not really very good at, and that's texture painting. Okay, so we've got 3. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's create this. This is going to be kitchen cooker. Let's just call it surround. Okay. Kitchen cooker interior. Kitchen cooker grate. That's all there is to it, really. There's just 3 parts. I'm gonna I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm going to color that, and then I'm going to texture paint it. I'm going to have a go at doing texture painting, so it'll mean unwrapping it and then doing some texture painting. Texture painting is not my strongest point at all. You know, I can do you know, node. I can do texturing with nodes and applying materials, not a problem. But texture painting is not an area that so I'm going to go out of my comfort zone and do that. Okay, so we've done. Let me just bring everything back. Roof, chimneys, basement. Okay. The floors, I'm going to do the floors the same. They're going to have the same texture. And the ceiling, which is obviously underneath the floor. Okay, so let's do each floor. It's going to be easy enough to do. I'm going to make the floor, so the way I'm going to do it is going to be, okay, so the mass is going to be less work to apply a material to the whole thing, and this is going to be, and I'm just going to call it ceiling texture. Okay, and now I'm going to select the floor, and I'm going to call that new material. Floor texture. That's it. Okay, so they're all going to be pretty much the same. I've got that red thing again. What does that mean? Okay, so we got floor and ceiling. I don't know what that means. It's the normals around the right way. It's been assigned a material. I don't know what that means. It's a new thing. Unless there's somebody in chat can tell me what that means. You know, out of the 200 people that are in chat at the moment, if you can let me know. could be waiting here a couple of years for someone to say something in chat. So we've assigned materials for that. Let's bring everything back. So select that floor. Ooh. Select that floor. Select that floor. Select the floor I applied the materials to last. Control L. Just apply materials, and there we go. I need to apply on the roof a okay, don't need yet, so that's interesting, isn't it? Because I've got a roof ceiling. Okay, so let's take that off of there. We don't need yet another, so I can add slot, and I'm just going to call this ceiling texture, assign. So floors and ceilings are done. What we need to do now is let's get rid of the roof, the first floor, the chimneys, and the basement. We have the stairs. Basement door, the stairs boxing, okay, so let's just call that, let's just give that material, let's just call it stairs boxing. We're going to have material for the basement stairs, basement door rather, basement door. I'm going to join. I'm quite. No, I don't want to join this yet, because when the house is finally done, I might have to alter some of this. Okay. All of these are going to have the same. This is just going to all be the same. So if we just call this. Stairs, stair railing, railings. Okay, I'm going to give them the same texture. That one, that one, that one, and that one last. Control L, material. We're just going to call this main steps, main stairs. Okay, and we're going to apply. This is all going to be procedural texturing. Control L, oops, Control L, materials. Microphone still working? It is. Okay, what is this? Okay, yeah, it's all to do with the lights now. If we bring back, take the stairs off, take off the ground floor, let's do the basement. This stairs, let's give that a texture slot, material slot, and I'm going to call this basement stairs. Pretty easy. Let's get rid of the basement. We've got the Patrick man. Oh, I'm going to leave him there. Okay, actually that reminds me, this needs to disappear, and he also needs to disappear, but before I start baking any textures, otherwise there'll be a couple of footprints left on the stairs. That's happened before. If anyone watched my lighthouse, that was so funny. That was just really funny. I mean, you know, it was just so funny to see when I baked the texture for the lighthouse, and there's a pair of footprints on the step outside the door. It's just so funny. Okay, so let's bring back what do we need to bring back? We can bring back the basement. No more texturing down here. Chimneys, no more texturing is to be done. Ground floor. We need to do the rooms now. Right. Before we do this, I'm going to save, and we're going to go to another revision. We're now on revision O. Some mistakes are funny. Anyone in chat? Anyone got any questions? No? Okay. Let's do the walls. What am I going to call this? So I think I'm going to call it ground floor, GF, right, which will be this room, and then GF, ground floor, left, front, and then rear, and then do the same on it. So the next floor will be first floor, so 1F, left, front, then rear, and then right, front, rear, and then left, because there's only one big room. So I think I might do it that way. I think that makes logical sense, and generally speaking, most people, you know, you view a house from the front, and the left and right are done in that order. So I'm going to select all the walls. Let's isolate them. What I love, actually, that it was so frustrating with previous versions of Blender, was that you couldn't do that before. You couldn't select multiple mesh objects and work on them all at the same time. You could only select one object, and you had to work on that one object and then go and select another one and work on that object, and it was actually really quite frustrating doing it that way, because you kind of lost track of where you were, what it was you were doing. So I'm basically going to assign textures to all of this as per each room. So this has obviously got exterior wall. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to do that, am I? I can do it for the main body, but not the inside. Ooh, hang on a minute. Has the... okay. Rookie mistake. Let's just give... okay. Let's just give all of these walls the same material as the outside. Okay, then they've got a material. The exterior wall is just going to be pretty plain, but we're not going to be using that on the inside anyway. So the only part that's going to be left is actually the top. So that's fine, because now they have a material. That's absolutely fine. Okay, now I can work on this. Okay, that's one room. Ground floor, hallway. Thought as much. So now I've got to add a new slot. Hallway, assign. That's fine. I don't mind. This is therapeutic. Okay, so if I select hallway, there we go. I'm going to save this as I go along, just in case I make a mistake. I don't make mistakes. Okay, so let's just not mess around. Let's just select that wall, because that whole wall is... so on the back of it has got a hallway. So if I call this ground floor, left, room. Okay, I'm going to just call it that because it's got to be called something. It's a room, isn't it? So I can't just call it GFL, ground floor left. No! See, I've made a mistake. I'm getting tired. Right, because we're looking at the front of the house. Okay, so we select this. We add a slot. Ground floor right, assign. And I can actually deselect all of those, I think, because that's part of the same. That's fine, it's the same. Assign, there we go. So if I deselect and select, I should have that whole room. Why didn't that? Because, yeah, okay, that's fine. So if I say select, why is that not? Did I not assign that? Select. Now I'm selecting the whole. I obviously didn't assign that material to that wall. That's fine. There we go. That's also one way. That's correct. So this, we need a new material. We're going to call this ground floor left, because we're now looking at this on the left. Front room. Assign. Okay, yeah. A new material for that particular wall. Select that, and we should have that whole room selected. Okay. Anyone in chat? Anyone gonna speak? Anyone gonna say anything? Nothing. So this is the kitchen, really. Let's add a new slot. Ground floor, left, rear room. Because somebody might not want to make that a kitchen. I don't know. I'm gonna assign it that. And then the back of this wall, rear, assign. Okay, so if we select the rear room texture, we should have something's not working, isn't it? Assign. Assign. That's working. And that's working. Come on. floor. Oh, stupid. I am getting tired. Deselect. Select. Ground floor, left, rear, room. Yes, we have it. Okay. Now we have textures assigned to all the rooms. Let's bring back the first floor. Some wall. Let's get this done. Let's do this. As who used to say that? I can't remember who used to say that. New. So this is first floor. Hallway. Simple enough. Ah. Yeah, I was saying actually that in the kind of the early days of Blender, you couldn't do this. You couldn't select multiple different meshes, separate meshes. They all had to be joined together in order to edit the faces and assign them different materials. Now you can select as many separate pieces as you like, go into edit mode, and you can edit all of them in one go rather than separately. It saves so much time. So much time. First floor, hallway. This wall, assign. First floor, hallway. I don't think I assigned it, did I? I keep forgetting to do that. So now we select first floor, hallway. Yep, I've done it the same again on there, haven't I? First floor hallway, we now have the first floor hallway. Let's do this room. I just realised I may need to select that on the ground floor. I must remember to do that. Okay, so we've got that one. And we have that one. New, assign, first floor, left, room. Assign. Okay, first floor left room. We have that whole room selected. Okay, 2 more rooms to go. If anyone's got any questions or suggestions or anything, then do please ask or comment or something. Then I'll know that you're alive. New. First floor, right hand or right rear room. Assign. Right rear room. Assign. New slot. Front right rear room. First floor, right rear room. Okay, if we select that, we should have the whole room, and we do. Now we can select this one. New, assign. First floor, front room. First floor, right front room. Assign. Assign. First floor, right front room. Assign. We select first floor, right front room, select. We've got them all. I need to now check that the we get rid of the first floor in a minute. Let's just go back into here. I suspect that I didn't highlight that, but then it would all depend on... Oh no, okay, right. And the same goes for that. No, that's fine. I was just afraid that, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's been selected. Okay, so now we've applied material slots, ready for texturing on, I think that's everything. Let's just double check. We've got a lot of materials, and you know, where you can, you try to utilize, you know, materials that could be just very similar onto different parts, so it kind of cuts down. Okay, so let's go through this logically. Floors have definitely been done. All the walls, ground floor, the basement, the inside walls and the outside walls are going to be pretty much the same. I'm just going to keep it because I don't think anyone's actually going to go down there, and it doesn't matter because it's going to be underground anyway. So the floor's been done. We have materials for the front door and the frame. For the first floor walls, exterior, hallway, room. Yep. We've got the interior walls are done, we know. All the door frames, interior are done. All the doors on the interior are done. Chimneys are done. stairwell, the basement stairs. What did I just notice there? Oh no, that's fine. So we have the basement door, the boxing for the stairs, the railing and the handrail, and the ends of the banisters. Yeah. So that's been done. The basement stairs got their own material slot. Upstairs, doors have been done, door frames have been done, the floor has been done, the ceiling has been done, the windows have been done, the interior has been done. I think we're pretty much there. We are pretty much there. We're there. Okay. Let me bring back the whiteboard. Okay. Apply materials to all faces. Has been done. The rear texture for all the windows. I've got to do it, but I've applied all the materials to pretty much everything now. So now the coving in each room. Coving's not going to go into the basement, so we can turn the basement off. Let's turn the first floor off. I only really need to design, well, the idea that I've got for the coving is going to be quite simple really. Let's work on this. It won't take very long to do actually at all. I need a comfort break, so I'm going to be back in a little bit, and Okay, I'm back. Yes. Okay. Yeah, just needed a break. Right, so coving. I'm going to keep it simple. Coving I used before for the Victorian style shop was just very simple. In fact, if I remember rightly, I actually made it part of the ceiling, but I don't want to go down that route because then it means it's a permanent fixture, and I want this to be relatively flexible as a building. So anyway, let's put cursor there. The way I did it before, which was effective and it worked, was I just added how did I do it before? It doesn't need a back and it doesn't need a top, because it's basically going to be it's just going to be really, I'm just going to keep it really simple. I don't want there to be, massive amounts of now something else I'd thought of was that a lot of houses obviously used to have what we call skirting board, which is basically a board that went round the bottom of the wall, and typically it was like 4 or 5 inches high and about an inch thick. Again, very often they had a kind of, they were modelled, but in some houses it was just literally a plank of wood with a bevel on it, and that was it in the really old houses, early Victorian. But this kind of style of house would have had shaped. But I just think it starts adding too much. I think that can be part of the texturing, really, to have a skirting. The coving, I think it looks better if it's got proper, what I call real coving in a room. So I think the best thing to do is just add a cube. Don't want it too high. This is what I love about Blender. It gets you to think about the logistics of making something like we're making coving for this room. you know, there are very complicated ways of doing it and making it really fancy and doing it, but there are simpler ways of getting the same effect, but at the same time I want to try and keep it low land impact, and I don't want to make it too complicated because it's just coving. No one's going to come into a building like this in Second Life and go, ooh, look at the coving, oh, let's go and check the coving in another room. I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's just an effect. It doesn't need to be fancy. And it you know, when you walk into the Victorian shop that I've made, you walk in and you can see the coving, but it's very, very simple. And because it's white, it stands out from the ceiling and the wall, you know, decoration, textures. And you get the same effect, and it's just really, really simple. I'm just trying to think what the easiest way. Let's apply scale to this. Let's duplicate it on the Z. Scale. Don't want to make it too big. Let's just do that. My idea my idea is to make like a template coving and then adjust it to each room as to how what's actually required. I don't want to scale this because it's now the right size. You'll see why in a minute. We are not going to need this or this because it's not going to be seen. All we need is, we've got this red thing again. I am so curious as to what that is. What does that mean? That it's on the bottom? There's no normals on it. In fact, actually the normals, why is there normal? Something very strange is happening. I don't know, if anyone in chat knows Blender and can explain to me what this means, I'm intrigued. It's very odd because anyway. See what happens if we scale it? It starts distorting the edges. I don't want to do that because I want the edges to be the same all the way around. So scaling is not an option. So this is why I'm contemplating what to do. I need to delete this because these sides, the ceiling is not going to be seen. And these sides are going to be up against the wall. all we really need is this. I wonder, does that mean that it's an n-gon? It can't do, because this is an n-gon. It can't mean that it's an n-gon, but why have I got... Oh. Strange. Anyway, we don't need those faces. We only need those faces. Let me make sure that the geometry is correct on all of this. Otherwise we start getting problems. So each of those have got corners, and they've got edges, and they've got this. So it doesn't mean... It's interesting. So now I don't know what that red means. It's going to bug me until I find out. Okay, so let's grab these sides. I think that is too thick still. So let's just move it out to about there, roughly. So we've got very simple geometry which will fit. Basically, you're going to see how I'm going to do this. So the top is going to be fine. Let's select the bottom edge. The bottom edge we're going to scale on the Z, because we're going to go out like that. Just going to start off like that. That looks good. We're now going to extrude. Oh, no, we can't do that. Okay. Let's add a loop cut, then we're going to come down. Scale Z. Actually, let me select that one. Ooh, this is now turning out to be a lot better than I thought. I don't want to really make it any more complicated than that, really. It's not going to be seen. The ambient occlusion that's going to be on this part will make it stand out enough to make it look modelled enough. Okay, I'm going to call this coving. What is this one? Ah, okay. Don't really want to make it. I mean, you know, it could be textured to make it look more complicated, but I think that's enough geometry. That's more than enough geometry. Duplicate that over there. This is at the right ceiling height, correct. I'm going to duplicate this. I'll do one room and then just duplicate it, because then it can just be resized for each room. It'll be a lot easier to do. Yeah. I can fine tune this when, you know, I'm just going to put this kind of roughly. Now we have coding. While I'm here, let's add. I'm just going to call it coving. It's going to be all the same. I'm not going to do so. Then if I alter the texture for one, it can be exactly the same for all the others. So of course the roof is going to go on top. It'll be, yeah. I mean, you know, between each floor. You only really need to see two sides, which is obviously the bottom and the side that you're facing. The wall and the ceiling don't need any geometry for that. Duplicate. It's exactly the same size. I can just move. Duplicate. What? Okay, the house now has coving in hallways and every room. Adds a bit more character to the whole thing, really. Yeah, looks good. Scale is correct. There is no rotation, so everything's fine. They've all got the same material. Our house is coming together very nicely. So we now have coving in every room. Basement, not going to bother. I don't remember ever seeing anything fancy in any basement. It was just plain room. Nothing fancy in there. You know, it was kind of considered the servants' quarters, and you know, the wine cellar would be under there, and it was just dark, damp, you know, kind of place where people, you know, people used to work, and things were just left there. Sometimes there were kitchens in basements. I mentioned in a stream previously that my parents moved to Ireland. We lived in this massive mansion, and it was much bigger than this, huge. But we shared it with another family. They had the first floor and the loft, and we had the ground floor and pretty much all the basement. And it's fantastic when you're young, living in a house that big. You know. Yeah, it looks good. Gives it a bit of character. Okay, so if let's look at our the project. Coving in each room, low poly, we've achieved that. Gas lighting, meh, it could do. You know, again, I think that could be something that I add maybe later on. I've now got to work on the rear texture for all the windows. So I've got two textures to do. The texture for the upstairs. So I need the texture for the upstairs windows, which has got 8 panes of glass in it effectively, and then for the basement. So I can hide these, just let's just hide that now, don't need that now. Everything's had material slots applied, ready for texturing. I've reused textures where possible. Coving's been done. I think we're looking really, really good. If we go in here, I mean, you know, this is looking really good. I like it. I might have to cut the coving there in this particular room because of we've kind of got a hole where the stairs go, so the coving would, I guess, naturally be sliced there and sliced around the other side. That's easy, very easy to do. Skirting board, I think, will be part of the textures for each room. I'm not going to do anything fancy for that. I want to try and keep this as low poly as possible. I think this is looking good. I think it's looking really good. I'm pleased with it. We've got the coving, just gives it a nice edging around the top of the room. It's not too high poly. Yeah. So really the next, what's this look like in, of course there's no lighting. Okay, yeah, we've got lots of ambient occlusion going on. But it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm pleased with what's happened so far. Yes, I've made some mistakes today, but I also was able to correct them, and we've ended up with I think a Victorian house that actually will, when I start applying the textures, and I've got some, you know, really good textures, and I've got some challenges coming up because I'm going to have a go at doing, you know, texture painting, which is not my, I am not an artist. I'm not an artist like that, you know. Some people can draw a couple of lines and it looks amazing. I draw a couple of lines and it looks like somebody sneezed, you know. So it's not my strongest point, but I'm going to have a go. So I'm going to use texture painting on things like the handles and the doors and the locks. The kitchen, the cooker is going to be, I think, a challenge. But I would like to do things like, you know, add a bit of sort of 3D. So apply a texture to the doors, but then add some texture painting to do things like the handle, like the locks, the rear of the windows. I think I might use a vector program to do that, actually, because otherwise it's I can't. There's no way I'm going to be able to what do they call it? Hand drawing, you know, freestyle hand drawing like that is just not my forte. And I think if I build up enough confidence to do some texture painting, then I might add it on some other places to just give, you know, give a bit of uniqueness to some of the building. But yeah, once again, wow, 3 hours, holy moly. Once again, thank you very much for everyone who watches my videos. It really, how can I say, it lifts my heart to just know that I'm doing something that other people are watching and enjoying and falling asleep with. But you know what I mean. It feels like I'm doing something worthwhile if people are watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and if you can share my videos and possibly get some more followers and stuff, that would be even better. But yeah, I just enjoy doing this, and I just enjoy sharing it, and I am, just to let you know, if anyone who watches to the end of this video, I'm going to be releasing a video actually soon that's going to be on something completely different, and I really mean completely different from what you've seen. And actually, talking of which, is the video? The video is now rendered. Okay, that's fine. That's good. So that's why I felt my Blender was behaving a bit better. So yeah, I'm going to be releasing a video, which I have a completely separate YouTube channel for, and all of that. There's something aside, but it's nothing. It's not weird, but it's very different from this kind of stream where I'm building something. It's something that I just want to share with people, and it's. I explain what it is I'm doing on the beginning of the video anyway, but I would appreciate some feedback on it. Feedback is useful, you know. It's useful because feedback provides information about whether you're doing something useful, whether you're doing something right, whether you're doing something that people enjoy, or whether you're just completely and utterly wasting your time, and, you know, I shouldn't really be on Twitch or something. I don't know. But it would be useful to get some feedback. I think this is looking good. This is one of the best builds I have ever done with a house. I've really thoroughly enjoyed making this. I've enjoyed sharing this journey, and I can't wait to see what it looks like finally textured, assembled, you know, because at the moment it's a bit like a Lego, you know, it's kind of all in separate bits, and it would be nice to just see what it's going to be like assembled, and then possibly do a walkthrough, you know. But it's looking good. It's looking good. Okay, I'm going to stop waffling. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I will see you again on another video. Thank you.